So let's just start with the basic questions. So why don't we get started with what is blockchain?
That's a good place to start. So, a blockchain is basically a distributed ledger which is both secured and permissioned. So, it's a lot of jargon to throw into one sentence. So, let me try and break that up. So, the nearest analogy to a blockchain is a database. However, a database usually is centralized. It's present on one server or on a central cloud and accessible by several clients. The clients themselves do not have a copy of the database. Blockchain differs from a standard database in two ways. It's distributed. Every client in a blockchain has a complete ledger. Blockchain as a database structure is a list of blocks. Each block can be thought of as a ledger of transactions. So while every node has a copy of all the transactions on a blockchain, it can be so implemented that a node can have access to only a subset of transactions on which it should have access to. And a new block is added to a blockchain using a cryptographic function of the existing blocks. So anytime you try and go back and change a previously added block to the blockchain, it invalidates every single block that has been added after it. So that makes the blockchain virtually tamper proof. If, let's say, a client X tries to tamper with its own copy of data, the other remaining clients would quickly note that that does not tally with the data they have stored locally and would quickly flag that copy of blockchain as corrupted. So this roughly is the idea of it. Now, blockchains are of two types: public blockchains and private blockchains.
Okay.
Public blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum are mostly associated with cryptocurrencies. Like the most popular application of
basically applications of blockchain technology.
They're an application of blockchain technology, but not the sole application, as a common misconception is.
Obviously.
So, a public blockchain does not have a trusted third party that manages the transactions and takes care of adding new blocks to the blockchain, which is the case in case of a private blockchain. So, a public blockchain needs some sort of a protection mechanism for adding new blocks so that third parties cannot randomly add to the blockchain. So they have something called a consensus algorithm. So consensus is usually done by a proof of work function. A proof of work function is usually computation of a mathematical equation, which we commonly hear as Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining. But such mining is often not present in private blockchain because it's redundant. There is already a trusted third party which manages adding of new data to a blockchain. So to answer to your question, what a blockchain is, it is a new database structure which is broken up into blocks. Each block is basically a ledger with a list of transactions. That's it. That's what a blockchain is.
So coming to the next very basic question, because you have been working in the blockchain industry for so long now, just people want to know what's the job scope in being in a blockchain engineer. What's the scope in the near future, or what's the scope right now?
I personally believe, and this is not me speaking as someone who has been working in blockchain, that blockchain has the potential to revolutionize whole swaths of industry and bring new applications. We were already seeing applications of blockchain in supply chain, in logistics, in food chain, in food delivery, in government, in land records. Any application where there is multi-party trust involved, for example, between the government and suppliers, between consumers and producers, between, let's say, shippers and owners of cargo, there is a potential application of blockchain. Blockchain works on something which we call the trust economy. It improves trust between participants in a system. So the application potential of our blockchain is huge. And as blockchain develops into more and more everyday use cases, we shall see a corresponding increase in the demand for skilled blockchain professionals. So I think the demand for work in blockchain shall only grow up in the days to come.
A lot of people also believe that blockchain is a bad vision for the future. What's your take on that?
See, I'm no visionary. I make no claims as to being able to see the future. But blockchain is a technology. There are good use cases for it and not so use cases for it. Blockchain should never be treated as a one size fits all for every problem there is. There are some specific problems which can be dealt with very efficiently if we employ a blockchain based solutioning, but you have to figure out what those problems are and whether your use case needs a blockchain based solution as is. Let me give you a common example where blockchain will not be the best solution. So you have an application which has only one user. The same user inputs data, processes it and takes out data. Blockchain is a very bad fit for this use case since there is only one party involved. It's an internal tool. It makes no sense to deploy it on blockchain. There is no multi-party trust issue involved here. So a simple database could do the job equally well.
A lot of audience also want to ask, can you share some real world applications of blockchain technology? Any decentralized apps that you have seen or you are using?
Oh, tons.
Or maybe can
Like,
be very revolutionizing.
I have a one word solution answer to this: Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin and
Anything apart from cryptocurrency?
But I guess like cryptocurrency, the topic has been talked to there. So let's talk about non-crypto applications of blockchain today.
Yeah.
We've seen industry majors like JP Morgan Chase building their own version of blockchain called Quorum, which is based on the Ethereum blockchain. It's a private blockchain which can be used, which is actively being used for financial markets.
Okay.
The IBM is working on blockchain with shipping industry majors like Maersk to build a blockchain for the shipping and logistics industry. There are blockchain-based solutions being developed by KPMG for the supply chain industry.
So I should say a lot of businesses are
already jumping onto the blockchain bandwagon. A play for blockchain is already being made, and all the major Fortune 500 are currently pro blockchain.
Any consumer technology that consumer application that you have seen of this technology?
It's mostly in the enterprise space now, but consumer space applications are also growing. We have seen social networks grow on blockchain. There was recently a case study into a social network that actually rewards users with currency when their posts are liked and shared and commented upon. The more engagement you have, the more rewards and value you can obtain from your social content. It was a very interesting model, and this is only the start of which application of blockchain based technologies in consumer facing tech. Currently it's mostly enterprise facing, but social is one area aspect where consumer facing is also taking off largely.
So we talked about what is blockchain. Let's now talk about what are cryptocurrencies and what exactly is Ethereum.
So cryptocurrency is one topic which I would not like to go into much detail about, mostly because information on cryptocurrencies is readily available, and this topic has, like I said, been talked to the death.
And in simple words, cryptocurrencies are basically applications of blockchain.
It's an application of blockchain. So,
but let's talk about Ethereum.
To answer your question, Ethereum is a cryptocurrency that is also positioning itself as a distributed apps platform. It is a public blockchain that allows developers to develop distributed apps using the concept of smart contracts. You can deploy a smart contract on Ethereum, and then users can use this smart contract by spending Ether, which is the token or the unit of Ethereum. And you can use this to deploy any logic on the Ethereum blockchain as per your application requirements.
Talking of smart contracts, what exactly are they?
To put it in a very layman language, a program that you write for a blockchain is a smart contract.
Okay.
So, for example, a smart contract for the Ethereum blockchain has to be written in a programming language called Solidity. So, it has a normal syntax like language like C or Java that you see. There are programming constructs, such as functions, loops, and constructors. You can use these to define your application logic, and this is stored on the blockchain and deployed on the blockchain as a smart contract. It's a terminology.
So, how hard can it be, or how easy can it be to write a blockchain app?
So how about we write a simple Hello World blockchain app?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
We are going to write our first program on blockchain. The program will be a classic Hello World program that greets the user. Blockchain that we'll be using today is Ethereum. You can learn more about Ethereum by going to ethereum.org. We shall have that link down in the video description. Programs written for Ethereum are called smart contracts. The programming language for writing such smart contracts is called Solidity. get started with writing programs in Solidity, you can use the online IDE at remix.ethereum.org. It allows you to write, compile, and run Solidity programs all within your browser without having to install any third-party software. To get started, we have a sample Hello World program already written for you, which you can open by clicking the link below in the video description. Once you are in Solidity, you can see there are three main areas: the code editor, the output terminal, and the command palette. The code editor is pre-populated with the code base. Every Solidity program has to have a contract. Here you can see the contract name is Hello World. The owner variable points to the user who deploys the contract on blockchain. Apart from that, you can define as many variables that are required by your program logic. Here we have defined a single string variable greeting that will contain the greeting populated as per the user's name. So the constructor is the function which is automatically called when the smart contract is instantiated. You can pass as many parameters as required to the constructor. Here we are passing a single string parameter name. We are setting the owner as the msg.sender. MSG here is a global variable that is available in Solidity. It points to the current user who is deploying the smart contract. We are also initializing greeting as a string concatenation of greetings and the username. So now we have, as part of our app logic, a function greet which will return the greeting string back to us. So to compile this function, we're going to hit the start compile button on the command palette. Once the compilation is done, we go to the run tab, and now we can instantiate this. So let's instantiate this with two blocks. We are going to pass the first parameter as, let's say, Soham. And once we hit transact, in the transaction log, you can see a block was created with the parameter we have passed. So let's now create another block, and let's pass the parameter Rishabh to it this time. So you can see from the transaction log, another block was created. You can see this block was just mined with the data we just passed. So now if I call the greet function on the first block, it returns the greeting. And now if I call the greet function on the second block, it returns the greeting for the next set of data we have passed. So congratulations, you have your first app running on blockchain with two successfully deployed blocks. So while this was a full-fledged Solidity program, we are merely scratching the surface here. What you can do with smart contracts is bounded only by your imagination. To find out more about Solidity, you can go to solidity.readthedocs.io, which we will also have linked in the description below. And to take a deep dive into what Ethereum is and how it works, you can either check out the Ethereum white paper linked below in the description, or you can check out this an article written by Mohit Mamoria on HackerNoon, which we will also have linked below.